So, I did see a UFO once. This was back in 97, I think. I was one of the many thousands of witnesses to what's been commonly known now as the Phoenix Lights. I was delivering pizza. I was a pizza delivery boy for Gumby's Pizza in Tempe. And I was driving around, dropping off a pie. And I roll up to this house. And these people are standing outside, and I jump out with a couple pies. And I'm like, yo, who ordered the fucking pizza? And everybody's standing outside looking up. And it was the same night that the Hellbach comet was supposed to be visible in the sky. So there's a lot of people outside looking out for this fucking comet. No one would answer me. I'm like, yo, who ordered the fucking pizza? And, dropped off the pizza. And I looked up to see what everybody was fucking looking at. And sure as shit, there's like 7 lights all in like a boomerang formation. Like kind of like a V shape over the city. Well, at the time, I really didn't have much of an opinion about UFOs. I wasn't that impressed. I was just like, okay, whatever, some lights in the sky. But I got back to the pizza shop, and I got out of my car and I looked back up, and now the lights had moved. They'd moved, several miles over the city, and they're in a different location. And now, because of the glow of the city, the backlight of the city, now I could tell they weren't just lights. There were lights there, but now you could see a vague outline of a fucking craft, of an aircraft. These lights were all interconnected. They were not just individual lights anymore. They were lights off a aircraft. And I'll tell you, man, this fucking thing was huge. I mean, this thing had to have been a mile or 2 long. That's how big it was. And, originally, the press questioned Luke Air Force Base. Luke Air Force Base is in the far side of the city, big military base. And originally, Luke Air Force Base said, no, we're not doing any tests. We have no idea what this fucking thing is. And then a day later, they recanted and said, oh, no, we were dropping flares over the city at that time as part of a test run. Well, anybody who lives in Phoenix and has any knowledge of what the Army and Air Force does over here, they don't drop flares over the major part of the city. They drop flares over the part of a mountain. And anyway, it wasn't fucking flares. I saw it. I mean, I could see at one point a definite outline of a craft. It was huge, and it was at least a mile or 2 in diameter. I mean, the fucking thing was ginormous. And so that's what got me interested in UFOs. At that point, I became a believer. We have nothing that is that big. At least I don't think so. I mean, and it was silent. It made no noise. If any of you have a helicopter fly over you, even if it's way off in the distance, it's fucking loud. I mean, you can hear it. You can hear jets taking off. You can hear combustion motors, going to town. But with this Phoenix Lights thing, man, there was no sound, and it was huge. I mean, you could have fit every single fucking airplane in this state on the wings of this thing. It was that big. And to debunk the Air Force's excuse that they were dropping flares, one, if you drop flares, they disappear within, a few minutes, and they descend. They don't move constantly across the city. In fact, across the fucking state. These Phoenix Lights were reported in parts of California, all the way through northern Arizona, through Phoenix, and the actual craft moved down the interstate. It tracked the highway, the main highway. I think it's Interstate 60. I think it's Interstate 60, or I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But anyway, it tracked the major highway all the way down from California through northern Arizona, through central Arizona, through Phoenix, and all the way down into Tucson, and it disappeared before it hit the Mexican border. So for people, the military's excuse that it was flares is bullshit. And even the governor of Phoenix at the time, Cy Fymington or Guy Fymington, whatever his fucking name is, at first he said, we'll get to the bottom of this and find out what it is. And then he had a press statement making a mockery of it. He had some fucking guy come out in an alien costume and wave at everybody, and they made a mockery of it. Well, if the one of the editions of UFO Hunters called Phoenix Lights. If you look it up on YouTube, it's on YouTube. It's called UFO Hunters Phoenix Lights. They did a whole episode on it. This governor now, who's retired, Fymington, whatever his name is, something like that, he came forward recently, just a few years ago, being now retired for 10 years, and said, hey, actually, I was told to say this. I don't really know what it is. I actually saw it myself, and I think it's otherworldly, is what he said. And this is governor of Phoenix, or whatever. So, yeah, so there's something to it, and I don't know what it was. I mean, it's obviously some sort of aircraft, whether it's military or extraterrestrial, it's hard to say. I don't see that the military has the technology to build an aircraft that huge, that is completely silent. So, and if they did, I don't think they would fly it over the 6th largest city in the country. So, it's probably a UFO. That's my take.